Welcome back to the Mad Genius Archive.
The place where we explore the minds bold enough or reckless enough to bend the future. Before we begin, hit subscribe if you love deep dive stories about the people shaping your world in ways you rarely see coming. Now,
Let me ask you something. What if one man controlled the three most powerful systems shaping your life today? Your newsfeed, your artificial intelligence, and soon, your own brain signals. And what if that man was using all three to run the biggest experiment ever attempted on humanity? In this episode,
we will follow those three systems: the feed that shapes what you see,
the eye that shapes what you think with,
and the chip that may one day speak directly to your brain. Today, we are answering that question.
because the man at the center of it is Elon Musk, and his newest bets are not just on rockets or cars. They are on you. One man is quietly rewiring the most powerful system on Earth. Not the internet, not the stock market, your mind. This is the story of Elon Musk.
Not as the richest man in the world, not as the meme lord of X, but as the engineer who is betting the entire planet's mind on his own ideas. We used to talk about him as the guy who makes electric cars and rockets.
Now he runs a brain chip company that has already implanted hardware into a human skull. He controls a social platform where hundreds of millions of people argue about reality.
And he owns an artificial intelligence company that trains
its models on those same conversations. So
the question is no longer who is Elon Musk. The
question is, how much of you already runs through
him? Elon Musk is born on June 28, 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa. He is a quiet kid,
obsessed with science fiction, obsessed with computers, obsessed with escaping. At 12, he codes a simple space game called Blaster. He sells the source code for about $500, a tiny deal.
But the moment his brain realizes that bits can turn into money, school is not kind.
He is bullied so badly that he ends up in the hospital.
Home is messy.
Divorce, distance,
anger. So he does what many smart, hurt kids do. He disappears into his head, into books and code, into the idea that somewhere out there is a world that will make more sense than this one. In the 1990s, he moves to North America. He studies physics and economics.
But a diploma is not what he wants. He wants permission. Permission to build things on a planetary scale. First comes ZIP2,
an online city guide for newspapers. It sells.
He walks away with tens of millions of dollars. Then comes X.com,
an online bank that will eventually merge and mutate into what the world knows as PayPal. In 2002, eBay buys PayPal.
Musk's stake is worth roughly $165 million.
At 30, he has what most people would call game over.
Money, enough to vanish into yachts and private islands for the rest of his life. Instead,
he asks himself a question that sounds both noble and dangerous. What
are the biggest problems for the future of humanity?
And which of those can I attack as an engineer? The answers become a list of bets. Make humanity sustainable on Earth.
Make humanity multiplanetary in space. Merge human brains with machines.
And if possible, steer the direction of artificial intelligence itself. Each of those ideas will become a company. Each company will put another piece of the planet on the line. In 2002, he found SpaceX. On paper, it is about cheaper rockets and Mars. In practice, it is a stress test.
A test of whether one engineer can take on the most powerful aerospace contractors on Earth. The first 3 launches of the Falcon 1 rocket all fail. Engines shut down. Fuel lines leak. Rockets tumble into the ocean. SpaceX burns cash like a fuse. Musk pours his PayPal fortune into keeping it alive. At one point, he has enough left for one more launch and rent. On the 4th attempt, Falcon 1 finally reaches orbit. That single success opens the door to
contracts with NASA.
It keeps SpaceX alive after
that. The story changes. Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy.
Then Starship, rockets that land themselves on drone ships in the middle of the ocean. Boosters reused again and again. To the public, it looks like magic. To Musk, it is just engineering. Iterate, blow up, learn,
repeat. But the stakes keep getting bigger. Governments begin to rely on SpaceX to launch satellites and astronauts. Starlink satellites spread across the sky.
Tens of thousands of small machines providing internet access to war zones, to rural villages, to ships at sea, to entire countries in blackout. One engineer now controls a significant slice of the planet's orbital infrastructure. His personal bets start to look a lot like global policy, while rockets
explode at sea. Another bet is taking shape on the road. In 2004, Musk invests in a small electric car company called Tesla. By 2008, he is chief executive officer. The car industry laughs at him. Electric cars are toys, they say. Slow, short range, good for virtue signaling, not for real drivers. Tesla answers with the Roadster, then the Model SN, then the Model 3. Fast, software heavy, updated over the air like a smartphone. More than once, Tesla nearly runs out of cash. Suppliers wait to be paid. Employees are not sure their jobs will exist in a month, but the bet holds. By the early 2020s, Tesla is one of the most valuable car companies on Earth. Major automakers scramble to catch up. Climate activists see a win.
Electric vehicles go mainstream years earlier than they otherwise might have. Musk sees something else. Proof that if you are willing to risk everything, you can move entire industries by sheer force of execution and belief. And here we hit the first fork in the road. Is that genius or madness? A genius who drags the future forward, or a madman who only stops when everything is on fire? The pattern for his life is now set. Find a system he thinks is broken. Bet more than anyone else.
Either it changes,
or he goes down with it. So far, he has not gone down. For years, this is how most people talk about Elon Musk. The car guy,
the rocket guy, the make humanity multiplanetary guy. But in the 2020s, something shifts. The most important systems on Earth are no longer just cars and rockets. They are less visible.
They live inside screens, routers, and data centers. They are systems that decide what you see,
what you feel, what you believe. And Musk decides to bet on those two. In 2022, he buys Twitter for $40 billion. A messy, noisy, sometimes toxic place where journalists,
politicians, activists, celebrities, and millions of regular people argue about reality in real time. He says it is about free speech, about fighting what he calls the woke mind virus, about restoring trust in an online public square that has become over-moderated,
over-censored, over-controlled. After a chaotic legal battle, the deal closes. Within months, he fires large portions of the staff. He changes moderation rules.
He sells blue check marks. Advertisers flee. The company's value drops compared to what he paid. He renames it X.
A single letter for an app he imagines as the operating system of life. This is visionary.
A bold attempt to rebuild the platform from first principles. Others, it is reckless. A multi-billion-dollar vanity project that destabilizes a critical piece of news infrastructure. But here is the important part. X is not just a business. It is a map of how hundreds of millions of people think, fight,
and feel. And this time the map is going straight into an AI lab. So we should pause and ask the question again. Is this genius or madness? A genius trying to free the public square,
or a madman who wants to run the sound system for the whole planet. In 2023, Musk launches an artificial intelligence company called Xai. Its mission, he says, is to build artificial intelligence that seeks truth. In practice, it is his answer to the existing AI giants. Xai creates Grok, a chatbot that is sarcastic,
politically edgy, and deeply integrated with X. Unlike most other models, Grok learns from the real-time firehose of posts and replies on X. not just from frozen snapshots of the internet. Then in March 2025, he goes one step further. He announces that XAI has acquired X in an all-stock deal valuing XAI at about $80 billion and X at about $33 billion. On paper, it is money moving from one pocket to
another. In reality, it means something
else. The company that runs a massive social network and the company that
builds a frontier artificial intelligence are now formally the same.
machine, data, models, compute, distribution, talent, all under one roof. The same person who controls the feeds people scroll now controls the models that interpret those
feeds and generate new content on top of them. The line between social media and artificial intelligence lab begins to blur. At this point, you have to wonder, is this still a company? Or is it the early wiring of a new reality engine? And remember, this is not just any person. This is someone who already controls rockets, satellites, and electric vehicle data around the world. The bets are stacking. The feed.
the AI. There is one system left, the brain itself. In January 2024, Musk announces that Neuralink has implanted its first brain chip into a human. The patient is Nolan Arbo,
29 years old,
paralyzed from the shoulders down after a diving accident. Neuralink calls the implant the N1, a tiny device with threads thinner than a human hair that sit in the motor cortex,
listening to neurons fire and sending that data wirelessly to a computer. After surgery, Nolan is able to move a cursor on a screen just by thinking. He plays chess. He plays video games.
He browses the internet. He says it feels like freedom after years of being trapped inside a body that will not obey. It is one of the most moving things you can watch on video. A pure, undeniable human miracle. And then quietly something goes wrong. Within weeks, Neuralink engineers notice that a number of the threads have started to retract from his brain. Less surface area in the cortex.
Fewer usable electrodes.
Lower data rates. The company posts an update. It confirms the problem. It explains that they updated algorithms to squeeze more signal from the remaining threads,
optimize the decoding software, and improve the user interface. In
interviews, Nolan says he lost some of the control he had just gained. He describes the fear of feeling that power slip away, and yet he also says he is still beating friends at video games he should not be able to play at all. This is what real life looks like at the edge of science. Hope and risk braided together inside one
human head. Some this is genius, the first real
bridge between mind and machine.
Others, this is madness, testing beta hardware on the human
brain. Critics point out that
Neuralink often communicates like a social media
company through charismatic live streams and viral clips, while traditional brain-computer interface labs move slowly, publish peer-reviewed data, and stress long-term safety. Supporters say that if we want breakthroughs in paralysis and blindness, someone has to move fast.
Someone has to be willing to break things and fix them in public. Meanwhile, Musk is already thinking ahead. He replies to a post on X with a sentence that sounds like science fiction and a product roadmap at the same time. In the future, there will be no phones,
just Neuralinks. To him, the smartphone is already obsolete. The final interface is the human brain. Rockets, cars,
satellites, social networks,
artificial intelligence,
brain chips. The bet is no longer just on the planet. It is on the operating system of our species. So we circle back to that first question. What happens when one man can steer what you see?
What your AI says, and maybe one day what your own neurons are allowed to say to a machine, while Neuralink tests implants in a handful of volunteers.
XAI is testing something else on millions of people in public. Grok is not just a chatbot that answers questions in text. XAI releases Grok Imagine, a tool that can generate short videos from text prompts, 6 seconds.
Moving images. Sound. At first it looks playful. Little clips of aliens. Sports moments. Cartoon scenarios. Then users push where users always push. Reports emerge that a hidden spicy mode can create explicit content. Celebrity deepfakes. Non-consensual sexual videos that never happened in real life. Articles describe how the system can generate highly realistic, pornographic footage of famous women, with fewer safeguards than rival systems. Advocates for digital rights and safety sound the alarm. They warn that this technology could supercharge harassment, blackmail, and political manipulation. XAI responds by dialing back the most obvious features, removing references to spicy mode, and promising better guardrails. But the message is clear: the same ecosystem that runs your feed, trains your chatbot, and beams internet from orbit can also generate video evidence of events that never happened. We used to worry about fake news. Now we are entering an era of fake memories, moments that look and sound real, but were never lived by anyone. At this point, we have to ask one more time: is this genius? Building tools so powerful they bend reality itself, or is this madness? Letting those tools out into the wild before we truly understand what they can do. And sitting at the center of this entire stack is the same person who once asked how big a bet he could place on rockets and cars. So what do we do with this? Is Elon Musk a genius or a madman? The easy answer is to pick a side. To say he is a visionary who forced the car industry to take climate change seriously, force space agencies to rethink rocket design, and might one day give mobility back to millions of paralyzed people. Or to say he is a reckless billionaire with unresolved trauma, whose whims now ripple through stock markets, news cycles, and war zones. The truth is harder. Maybe he is both: a madman to his critics, a genius to his supporters, and a stress test for the safeguards the rest of us build or fail to build around people like him. He is an engineer given more leverage than any engineer in history. He sees the world as a collection of broken systems and solvable equations. If the math works, if the physics checks out, if the prototype survives testing, then the move feels justified. But the systems he is touching now are not just metal and code. They are people, cultures, democracies, nervous systems. They do not behave like rockets and batteries. They remember. They resist. They fracture in ways no simulation can fully predict. Elon Musk has helped bend entire industries toward electric power, reusable rockets, and high-risk innovation. He has also normalized a style of leadership that treats workers, users, and even nations as variables inside an experiment that only he truly signed up for. The real question is not who he is. The real question is who we become when we treat his bets as the default path for the future. Do we build institutions strong enough to surround technologies this powerful? Do we insist that no single person controls the satellites a country needs in war, the feed millions use for news, and the chips that might one day sit inside their brains? Do we treat social media, launch systems, and artificial intelligence as infrastructure that must answer to more than one mind? Or do we accept that in the 21st century some planets will simply be run like startups? Because in the end, Elon Musk's greatest experiment may not be Tesla, or SpaceX, or X, or XAI, or Neuralink. It may be us, a species willing to let one engineer but the planet's mind, in the hope that he is right about the future we need. And if we are wrong, the lesson will not land as a headline, or a tweet, or a viral clip. It will land as the world we have to live in. If this episode opened your eyes, or made you question who truly controls the future, hit like, subscribe, and share this documentary with someone who still thinks technology is just tech. Here in the Mad Genius Archive.
We tell the stories of the minds that shape tomorrow for better and for worse. Thanks for watching. And remember, when one man bets the planet,
Ask yourself what he is betting with.